Well, hey everybody, it's Umbraze doing a quick video updating on updates, and the updates specifically to do with Cloud, AC Cloud, AC Sephroof, AC Tifa, and I would say AC Kadage, but there's only been one of them so far. So yeah, this isn't a super big video, mostly because we've kind of talked already about some of the details of these characters getting upgraded. It was essentially before, but I will try and go through them relatively quickly for what we've gotten. So first off, let's get through to a character that was really popular when he came out. And now with his upgrades, the question of whether or not whether he's worth it or not of getting again is an interesting question. It's more interesting than Cloud. I think Cloud is actually the most boring character I'll talk about today, because we kind of know Cloud's already good. So jumping ahead, AC Sephroof. Master ability, well, we know now that with Master ability to basically acquired AP up by 30, which is the same. Single target resistance is now 25, and AoE resistance penetration is 20. It's pretty good. It does up his firepower a little bit, because I do feel his firepower was feeling a little bit weak by today's standards. But anyway, we also know that the limit burst has been upgraded. Before anybody says anything, yes, the limit burst originally did reduce elemental resistance 20%. That's now up to 30%. Cost of the limit burst hasn't changed. Area or range hasn't changed too much. It's still a 67% chance of inflicting curse on the targets. And if curse is effective now, then we know that nullify CT for targets is active. So CT up for targets is disactivated. Agility has also been decreased by 25% for curse. So curse is much stronger when it's directly through AC Sephroof. And yeah, that's powerful. That is unquestionably powerful. We also know more about his weapon upgrades now, which is slash attack of 15, AP consumption of 15 down, reduce physical damage taken the larger AoE size of 15% for himself, and increase AoE resistance penetration of 10. That's to go along with increasing slash attack resistance penetration of 20. So Sephiroth's upgrades basically are some survivability, some DPS, and the DPS will help him stay more relevant. But has he made a difference? So I've kind of delayed this video a little bit, waiting to kind of see what would happen, and my overall impression hasn't terribly changed too much. If you have curse resistance, then his power drops off pretty significantly. Curse is still the strongest thing about him, but with curse auras, anti-curse auras, and just protection in general against curse, then this character falls pretty flat, and that hasn't changed too much. I've been using teams fighting against mostly focused on Sephroof teams, as well as newer units, and the newer units seem to do generally better. So AC Sephroof is kind of just good. He's good. And it's fine. I don't think that there's anything too terribly interesting worth writing home about this character, but his upgrades are good enough that I think it's overall fine. Now, one second. And now we're going to talk about Tifa. Now, Tifa is the second most interesting character here. She's always been actually pretty good since she came out for a strike unit. If you were making a strike-based team, you kind of include Tifa, and with Elena coming out and having some strike-based attacks, and Zack having some strike-based attacks, there is some interesting synergy. So master ability total now is single target resistance of 15, critical rate of 20, reducing magical damage by 15%, and HP restoral 2 times when her HP drops below 50%. And that's all pretty good. No complaints. For 90 costs, for limited and getting upgrades, she'll probably be pretty good in certain content going forward. And her limit burst, decreasing chain resistance by 50, 240 mod, Still a little bit cheaper cost, 33 AP makes it much more accessible for her. Decreases critical evasion for targets by 30, critical rate up by 25, and grants the following effects of a 10 AP restore when performing a critical hit, and grants the effect of CT up by 200 when performing a critical hit, and increases CT by 300 first. I think for a 90 cost unit, she's pretty awesome. Pretty cool little unit. Do I think that she's going to be good? Maybe. If there is a strike damage based team, Elena should be an interesting factor. And since there hasn't been many strike units, Tifa could end up on that team. Do I think that team has a very high likelihood of happening? Not terribly, but put a pin in it for now until tomorrow when Elena comes out and we can take a look at what that looks like. Next up, Kadage. Kadage is probably the other least interesting character. So master ability, increase HP of 10%, that stays the same. Critical evasion up by 20, reaction block rate of 40, and single target resistance penetration of 30. Few things up there, HP, critical evasion are the same, reaction block rate doubled on that, which isn't terrible, but again, I don't feel too terribly much. I'm over the moon with this character. As for one ability that is increased, I can't show this one because I actually don't have this character. Increase human killer by 30 for 4 turns when attacking with a physical attack for allies. Haste, human resistance of 25%, damage reduction of 15, and grants the following of critical rate down upon a hit, as well as dispelling auto restore. Honestly, Kadage is interesting because I do lose the odd match against him sometimes. It's hard to say sometimes when you skip over that match because you just don't really expect it, what the actual factor was. And I think that Kadage is in a similar place to Tifa. If there is an interesting team for him, great. He's probably benefited a lot from a lot more VCs coming around lately that have a katana aspect to them. But yeah, not too terribly crazy about this character at this point. And now we return to Cloud. Little 90 cost interjection in there. Cloud is kind of boring to talk about because we know at this point that he is really, really good. Him in combination with Zac just works. It works really well with Karsha, it works well with other characters. But Zac plus Cloud seems to be the actual ticket from this event. And kind of just brings me in to talk about this because the equipment upgrades don't even really matter that much. Tifa, I skipped over her Zagan fist increase, although it does have some generally nice stats if she's going to be paired with another character that might want the reliquary glove more. Then Tifa Zagan's fists will probably be more than good enough with, decreasing with critical hit effects, which synergize with what her limit burst and everything is doing, as well as decreasing her AP consumption and increasing critical damage. That's all really good. But Cloud is just, his upgrades plus a new character was enough to bring him fully back. And to me, that is kind of the summary point of this video now. The summary is that out of all the, AC characters, at least this early on, AC Cloud is the one that I recommend the most. He is far and away better than every other character in here, looking at a 100 cost situation where there are no cost restrictions. He has great equipment. The one condition I would say is that you kind of need Zac and Karsha to really get there, and that is an expensive proposition, as well as maybe some VCs to support this whole thing. And we have to kind of wait and see what the following weeks look like with Rufus and Elena coming in with high shooting power, which could be a problem for this team, but we'll see. Either way, with Karsha, it's a heck of a lot of survivability and a real problem for opponents to try and kill all of them. So yes, AC Cloud is, and by all accounts, my strongest recommendation of the gacha characters, AC Sephroof being second and Kadage being third, with AC Tifa getting a free pass because, well, she's the free first cost unit. And it is a little bit early to say that, but since I haven't done a video talking about the actual upgrades yet, I felt like that was something that I should finally get around doing and ranking them in terms of what actually ended up being the best. The one thing also I want to say is that I don't expect AC Sephroof or Kadage to really be that affected by the next few weeks, mostly because Elena has essentially no synergy with him. I can't see that being a thing unless the VC is really there. The other thing with AC Tifa, we'll wait and see if Elena actually is strong enough. Given that her main weapon is a gun, unless there's a lot of strike support in there, I feel like Elena might be just too split. It might end up just being a really insanely good commander unit for accounts. So could be that Tifa just ends up being a nothing note, but either way, kind of nice to see that AC Cloud flipped with Sephroof to become the more important character for the next little bit. Anyway, that's all for me. Thanks so much for watching. Elena soon, and later.